calm returns to Mexican tourist spots this Tuesday night.
We're back to normal today.
How airlines are trying to accommodate all the Canadians trying to get home and the people not giving up on their Mexican vacations. Balancing public safety with privacy rights.
The AI developers should have a duty to inform.
The debate over the responsibilities of tech companies. Targeted, mounting fears India's government is threatening Canadians and their families as Canada's Prime Minister is about to head to India. Plus, healing the wounds of Russia's war. The Canadian program training Ukrainian doctors.
We wanted to help
as Russia's invasion enters its 5th year.
Global National with Donna Friesen.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Flights in and out of Mexico are now resuming after a wave of drug cartel violence swept across the country following the killing of a notorious drug kingpin on Sunday. Tourists were not targeted and stability appears to be returning, but Global Affairs Canada is still warning travelers the situation remains volatile in some regions. Canadians are advised to avoid non-essential travel to a number of Mexican states, seen here in orange, and to exercise a high degree of caution in others, including some popular tourist destinations such as Puerto Vallarta. Global Skylar Peters is just north of there tonight. Skylar.
Well, Donna, the streets here in Bucerias are really starting to regain some of that vibrancy that we experienced in the days prior to cartel violence breaking out on Sunday morning. Now, we were originally scheduled to leave here on Sunday evening. That flight was canceled. And as recently as last night, the quickest flight for us out of here was going to be next Monday night. But as WestJet and Air Canada opened up more seats for stranded travelers, many will be able to get out of here today and tomorrow. Beach chairs were filled once again on Tuesday. The desolate scenes from Monday, when many stores opted to remain closed the day after the violence, are now only a memory.
We're back to normal today, as you can tell. We want to support the local restaurants, so we're out.
One restaurant owner we spoke to was open on Monday, saying he wanted to help restore a sense of normalcy.
The street was empty, nobody on the street, and I think for me, all people wait to see another people, and people call people, and in a couple of hours we think it's as normally.
To accommodate stranded passengers, WestJet confirmed additional flights to the area, while Air Canada is sending larger aircraft. And those still willing to come down can do so.
Our daughter is supposed to come down next week, and she is a little nervous and not really sure what to tell her. She's going to have to make her own decision.
I wouldn't be scared. If I could stay here longer, I would.
Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum dismissed concerns about World Cup games scheduled to be played in Guadalajara this summer.
¿Qué garantías hay para que se realice el Mundial en esta sede?
Todas las garantías. Todas las garantías.
No hay ningún riesgo para los visitantes.
Ninguno.
No, it's not a big deal. Everything is fine. Don't worry. Don't worry, be happy.
Most of the travelers we've spoken to have made this area an annual winter destination, and they say the events over the past couple of days aren't going to do much to change that in the years ahead. Donna?
All right, Skylar Peters, near Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Thanks. Global News has learned a relative of the person who shot and killed 8 people in Tumbler Ridge, BC, including 6 children, has been arrested in Alberta. Jillian Piper has been looking into this. Jillian, what do we know?
Donna, Alberta RCMP say a 22-year-old relative of the Tumbler Ridge shooter Jesse Van Rootselaar has been arrested in an attempted murder investigation. Jacob Van Rootselaar was taken into custody outside of a residential house last Thursday in Sylvan Lake, Alberta. There was a Canada-wide warrant for him stemming from an attempted murder case in Fort McMurray 2 years ago. His arrest came about a week after Jesse Van Rootselaar shot 5 school children, her mother and half-brother, as well as a teacher's aide, before killing herself in one of the worst mass shootings Canada has ever seen. Alberta RCMP told Global News Jacob Van Rootselaar was charged with 2 weapons offenses, including the possession of brass knuckles, which are illegal in Canada. He was also charged with 5 counts of failing to comply with release conditions. A warrant for arrest document dated January 22nd of this year, obtained by Global News, shows this is not the first time Jacob Van Rootselaar has breached conditions. The accused was charged with breaching release orders on October 25, 2025 and November 5, 2025 at or near Tumbler Ridge, BC. But the document does not provide any details on the nature of the infractions. Despite both Van Rootselaars being in the small community of Tumbler Ridge last year, Whether they spent any time together is unclear, Donna. Jacob Van Rooselaar is now in custody awaiting a court appearance in Red Deer, Alberta.
All right, Jillian Piper, thank you. Representatives from OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, were summoned to Ottawa today to answer questions about the tech company's safety protocols. Its systems had flagged disturbing chats with Jesse Van Rooselaar, the shooter who killed 8 people in Tumbler Ridge, but the company chose not to notify Canadian police about it. As Touria Izri reports, the case highlights the challenge of trying to regulate artificial intelligence.
In the search for answers, one question keeps repeating. Why did OpenAI decide not to inform Canadian police about the Tumbler Ridge shooter's disturbing interactions with ChatGPT?
The news that OpenAI might have had the opportunity to stop this terrible tragedy in Tumbler Ridge is just devastating for families.
Artificial Intelligence Minister Evan Solomon called OpenAI representatives to Ottawa for a meeting.
We do want to know exactly what OpenAI does, what the thresholds are, what the human interactions are, how the technology works.
But Solomon says he's not discussing the details of the case with the company, like what exactly shooter Jesse Van Rooselaar posted on ChatGPT. The Wall Street Journal reported on Friday OpenAI employees raised alarms about the Canada shooting suspect months ago, but leaders ultimately decided not to contact authorities.
You can't help but feel that some of these deaths could have been prevented.
OpenAI says it reached out to RCMP after the 18-year-old gunned down 8 people, most of them children.
AI developers should have a duty to inform.
Teachers, doctors, and mental health professionals have a duty to report in a suspected case of harm to a minor.
This is yet another sign that there is a risk with letting OpenAI and other AI developers deciding for themselves what is an appropriate safety framework.
This particular individual was already known to police and mental health services.
Handing over data to police could be problematic, says this privacy lawyer.
Everyone is entitled to privacy. That's why we have privacy law to begin with.
British Columbia's premier wants new legislation requiring AI companies to notify police about online threats before they escalate into deadly violence. Touria Izri, Global News, Montreal.
A Sikh activist in Canada says he's been warned by police about what he calls a credible threat to his life and that of his family. And he believes it's the latest attempt by the government of India to try to silence its opponents. Canada's Prime Minister is about to head on a trade mission to India. And as Mackenzie Gray reports, it's a trip that's caused anger in Canada's Sikh community.
Down with one system!
One of Canada's foremost Sikh activists is no stranger to threats against his life. Police first warned Maninder Singh back in 2022, but the latest alert was different.
You've never received one for your family before, but yeah, this one's extending to your family. And then it was like, okay, so it's turned a bit of a corner.
Vancouver police came to Singh's house to deliver the warning on Sunday that his wife and 2 kids now have credible threats against their lives. Singh blames the Indian government because of his activism for a separate Khalistani state in northern India.
India uses criminal syndicates, gangs in Canada, to carry out their dirty work for them.
While Vancouver police would not tell Global News details associated with the threats, the RCMP CSIS and the National Security Advisor have all said agents of the Indian government have been involved in extortions and murders in Canada. The most prominent, the 2023 murder of Sikh activist Hardeep Singh Nijjar in Surrey, that the Indian government denies involvement in.
Small issues need to be dealt with at that level, and that the whole country, relationship between countries are not kept hostage to little issues.
The small issue of the Nijjar murder, as the Indians have put it, had ruined Canada-Indian relations for years.
Excellency, Prime Minister.
Which Mark Carney is hoping to move past. He invited the Indian Prime Minister to the G7, which set the stage for an upcoming visit to India starting on Thursday.
The largest economy in the world, one of the largest population. It's key for Canada to have a strategic relationship.
The Prime Minister's trip, the wrong move, according to Singh.
It's unfortunate that this level of violence is happening in Canada, and the leadership of this country, right to its Prime Minister, are sitting across from the very people that are orchestrating it, shaking hands, smiling, and signing deals with them.
After years of complaints that Canada had not provided any evidence to tie the Indian government to the Nijjar murder, the High Commissioner now says they're closely watching the trial of 4 men accused in that murder in Surrey, Donna, details of which we can't report on due to a publication ban.
Okay, Mackenzie Gray in Ottawa, thanks. Tens of millions of Americans along the eastern seaboard are still digging out after a record storm. The blizzard shattered snowfall records, caused widespread power outages and stranded travelers at multiple airports. Atlantic Canada was hit too, although not as hard as south of the border. Heidi Petracek reports.
Stuck in snow, shoveling for hours, the aftermath of an historic blizzard for the northeastern United States.
If you can't enjoy shoveling snow or using a snowball on Long Island, you should get out.
Long Island buried under more than 76 centimeters of snow, shattering a 50-year-old record. New York's Manhattan district may have recorded 56 centimeters, but Providence, Rhode Island beat its 1978 record with 94, matched by New Bedford, Massachusetts. All totals blown away by Fall River, Massachusetts, at a whopping 104 centimeters. A travel ban stayed in place Tuesday for southeastern Massachusetts so crews could clean up fallen trees and down power lines. Several 100,000 still without electricity.
And what exacerbated the event, of course, was hurricane-force winds.
The storm may have made for pretty pictures in New York City for Canadian traveler Sheila Donnelly, but it also grounded thousands of flights, which means she's still trying to get home to Vancouver.
In theory, I'm still going to be arriving home sometime in the wee hours of Wednesday morning. I do not know that for sure yet.
The storm hit the Maritimes too, but the impact not quite the same.
We saw it mixed with ice pellets as well, so then we started to see that the water content in that increased, and that made it a little more heavier.
The winter blast dumped up to 30 centimeters in some parts, making travel hazardous. Moving it all challenging for this stuck sidewalk plow and for shovelers.
It's a good workout. It's nice. I keep trying to switch arms.
Kids taking advantage of widespread school cancellations and yet another snow day may have to wait for another. The next system in the forecast isn't expected to be nearly as bad here or stateside. Heidi Petracek, Global News, Halifax.
Savannah Guthrie's new heartfelt plea. Coming up, what she said as she upped the reward for information about her missing mother.
She may be lost. She may already be gone. She may have already gone home to the Lord that she loves and is dancing in heaven with her mom and her dad, and with her beloved brother Pierce, and with our daddy.
There are still no answers for today's show co-host Savannah Guthrie and her family. Their mother Nancy was taken from her Arizona home on February 1st. The family is now offering a $1 million reward for information that leads to her recovery. Earlier this month, the FBI released video from the doorbell cam on Guthrie's front door, but the masked man has yet to be identified. Last week, authorities found a glove with DNA near her home, but it did not return any matches in a national database. The U.S. president is set to deliver his State of the Union address tonight, and the American men's hockey team, which won gold against Canada at the Olympics, has been invited to be there. That was revealed in a phone call President Trump made to the dressing room after the win. That call has caused a bit of an uproar, as Melissa Ridgen explains.
U.S. President Donald Trump today congratulating the U.S. men's team on winning hockey gold, while some fans are still bothered by a now viral dressing room video from Winnipeg Jets fans not thrilled with goalie Connor Hellebuyck.
Howie, say hi. Howie, say hi to him. How you doing, Don?
To outrage that the women's gold medal winning team was treated like a joke.
Must tell you, we're going to have to bring the women's team. You do know that.
And FBI Director Kash Patel criticized for celebrating in Italy on the taxpayers' dime. The U.S. women's team politely declined Trump's invite to the State of the Union address, and many Canadian hockey fans think the 5 players who suited up for Team USA but play for Canadian NHL teams also should decline.
Well, the political overtones are going to be there for sure, given who's the president and all that's going on with the White House. The deal was you go back to work on Wednesday.
The Toronto Maple Leafs want captain Austin Matthews rested for crucial back-to-back games in Florida starting Wednesday night. The Ottawa Senators have said Jake Sanderson and Brady Tkachuk will be in the lineup for their next game on Thursday. Kyle Connor is back in Winnipeg getting ready for a Wednesday game in Vancouver, but Hellebuyck isn't expected to rejoin the Jets until Friday in Anaheim.
The hard part is it's a coast-to-coast travel here. So, it's going from Miami to Washington, back out to Anaheim.
Some American players might find a cool reception when they get back to Canada, even chillier depending on what Trump says about hockey and Canada in his State of the Union address. Melissa Ridgen, Global News, Winnipeg.
Ahead, a renewed push for peace as the world marks 4 years of full-scale war in Ukraine. Prayers for peace in Kyiv's St. Sophia Cathedral to mark 4 years since Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. European leaders joined Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky for a multi-faith service honoring the nation's troops and the resilience of the Ukrainian people. They lit candles by the portraits of soldiers killed in the war, Europe's deadliest since the Second World War. Hundreds of thousands of troops have been killed on both sides, though exact numbers are a heavily guarded secret. People paused for a moment of silence today. They've endured 4 years of relentless drone and missile attacks and power cuts. Zelensky, in an address to the European Parliament, reminded MPs Ukraine did not start the war and did not provoke it.
Every result you achieve is a line that Putin cannot cross. Thank you for all these years. Thank you so much. Slava Ukraini.
His speech was met with a nearly 2-minute standing ovation. Today, the head of the European Union promised it will deliver a €90 billion loan to Ukraine, despite threats from Hungary's prime minister to block it. And Canada announced another $2 billion in military aid and is extending a training mission for Ukrainian troops to 2029. Those injured in the long-running war need a staggering amount of care, including for facial wounds. In Calgary, a plastic surgery team is helping by creating a first-of-its-kind humanitarian fellowship. Heather Yurix-West explains how it's training a Ukrainian surgeon with crucial new skills.
Let's look at the ocular surface.
Far from the front lines, these doctors are helping with the Ukrainian war effort from this surgical center in Calgary.
We were all mortified. We wanted to help. I wanted to help.
The explosive attacks were causing a large number of traumatic facial injuries, many involving the eye. Dr. Karim Punja knew his expertise in facial reconstruction could help.
I do a lot of oncology, a lot of cancer reconstruction. The principles of putting together a face from a tumor reconstruction or an eye from a tumor reconstruction, they're identical.
And so a first-of-its-kind humanitarian fellowship was created at the University of Calgary for a Ukrainian surgeon to spend a year traveling between Calgary and Kyiv to train.
Main goal here is to go back to Ukraine to do reconstructive surgeries for soldiers and civilian people with mine explosive injury.
4 months in, Dr. Pavla Ivanyota already has plans to share her new skills with other surgeons in Ukraine, where sadly the need for this type of facial reconstruction only continues to grow.
Every night in my hometown in Kyiv, we have drone attacks, we have rocket attacks, so it's continuing.
The fellowship is supported by donors, with fundraising underway to help purchase the supplies Dr. Ivanyota will need to perform the specialized procedures she's learning back home. Heather Yurix-West, Global News, Calgary.
Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things.
Next, the powerful poetry of a Ukrainian veteran voiced by Sir Ian McKellen. Ukraine has always had a rich cultural life, and after 4 years of Russia's full-scale invasion, poetry is playing a vital role in processing trauma and fortifying the spirits of the people. Artur Dron is one of the many Ukrainian poets helping in this. He volunteered in 2022, fought on the front lines, and was seriously injured. His words carry weight. Here is an excerpt from his poem, The First Letter to the Corinthians, read by actor Sir Ian McKellen.
Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast. Love fears with a primal fear, but walks on. Love could have surrendered, abandoned everything, but it walks on. And sometimes love gets shot in the legs, or shell fragments get stuck in them, or its legs get blown off. Then love is carried by its friends. Love never fails. But where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. Because sometimes, when the shelling ceases, friends close love's eyes, wrap it in sleeping bags, and carry it away. And then it passes on to the living.
And that is Global National for this Tuesday. I'm Donna Friesen. From the Brandenburg Gate to the Eiffel Tower, countries across Europe are honoring Ukraine by lighting up their monuments in blue and yellow, the colors of Ukraine's flag. We leave you tonight with some of those tributes. Thanks for watching.